Thank you very much. Chairman out of Santa Maria.
Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, October 14th at 2 o'clock. I'm calling the regular meeting of the Resources and Infrastructure Committee to order. All committee members are present. Staff present is our water superintendent, Cody Meeks, our program manager, Tristan Reaper, our utilities manager, Jim Green, and our confidential administrative assistant, Haley Dotson. And we have one member of the public in attendance. And I see no one online. I don't have a chair report other than just to make sure you all knew that we canceled the tour of the Stewart Street tanks that was supposed to be following this due to the weather. And when we get to future agenda items, we'll talk about when we can do it, if that's okay. Okay, do we have any committee member communications? Okay. Let's move on to the utility department manager report, Mr. Green.
Fantastic, all right. Thanks, one say I'm grateful for Rocky View got 2.5 inches. We're up to 2 inches here in town. We were out kind of evaluating our assets and looking at that stuff here, and we noticed that Santa Rosa Creek has kind of picked up a little bit. We don't anticipate San Simeon Creek flow yet, although the creek flow just ceased last week. So you guys know from all of our commiserating, we talk about how we can't operate San Simeon well 1 while the creek's running. So we just got authorization and testing to put that back online from the DVW. And here it rains this week. And if we have any creek flow within 150 feet, Cody, of that, we can't operate or produce water from that well site here. So as much as we like that rain, we would like to hold off that creek flow for a little bit longer there, just so we can exercise San Simeon 1 for a little bit. But let me give you some updates on what's going on here. We've got a lot of SST project updates going on. Of course, we've got these huge trenches in. We've made some connection to PG&E's ducting bank, and as soon as you open up the ground, the sky opens up and rains. But most of our trenching and stuff, it didn't collect water. We don't have any new reservoirs on site at the plant yet. It was mostly sandy, so all that silty sand, the water the storm flow went right through there. But there's a lot going on at the SST, even with the rain and what's going on. We're working on some of the master control panels there. We have our SCADA automation guy in there today, so they're working on some other stuff on the back scenes, more electrical and programming, while some of this wet season occurs here. We have something we haven't talked about in a little while, and that's the San Simeon transmission line. So we have received the encroachment permit from Caltrans. Took about 6 months, but we do have that. In the meantime, we are doing some coring and some drilling, some sampling there for other utilities. We're doing about 4-inch, some just 4 foot, 20 inches, 20 foot deep down to 80 foot deep to kind of get some bedrock soil analysis, and also look out for any other utilities there in that alignment along Caltrans there. With that, we have about 2 sites on state parks, the holes that we need to.
Yeah, the 2 80-foot holes were in state parks, and then there was another 4 utility locating potholes.
So with that, to get onto state parks land to do that, we need a right of entry permit. So we're just kind of trying to finish up that. Hopefully we'll have that by the end of the week, because it looks like drilling and sampling is going to be set hopefully for October 20th through 22nd here. So hopefully we can get that ROE turned around and get our sampling out there going on. That final sampling will dictate that final alignment of that pipeline there along Caltrans and where exactly we want to go, and our bore pits and where we're going to have the installation for that and going under the creek and so forth. So that data will provide us the final engineering piece for that. Lift station B4, so Earth Systems completed the geotechnical report for the project. This geo report is being incorporated into the engineering for the project as far as soils and where that relocation is going to go. There's a lot of land use with this project because we are in a biological resource area, geologic sensitive area, and obviously everything else that comes to working with Cambria. So we're expecting a full CDP for this project. We haven't initiated that yet. We are just turned in the soils report and kind of working on that engineering piece with our consultant MKN on the project. But we'll look forward to initiating that project here probably by the end of the year. So we'll start that CDP. We're about where we can go with the permitting of that process. We really need to get out in front of the county and see what kind of CEQA is necessary for the project for us to continue. We're hoping it's an initial study of mitigated negative declaration. That would obviously be a much easier process for us. But by our last 2 or 3 utility projects that we've done, permitting's been difficult and heavy. And even the Stewart Street tanks that we got a CDP for a year ago, we had some final rounds, not really a battle, but some final go rounds with county planning and building on some final items and height of the tank and so forth. So permitting's never easy, but we're trying to get our ducks in a row as much as we can before we go out and do that full CDP for that project. Our ZLD, so supply chains issues. If anybody listened to the board meeting last Thursday, we've had some small parts that have small chain or supply chain issues. So that ZLD that was supposed to be set up and operating this week has got pushed back to next week. They'll be on site mobilizing here by the end of the week, setting up. We look forward to starting that next week. They'll have 2 40-foot trailers. That'll be set up, processing for this ZLD. Mr. Meeks, is what we're saying, 40 gallons per minute or,
Is what we'll make. Yeah, that's what the
Right.
plant makes, and then they'll process about 10 GPM.
so look forward to that getting set up. Apologize about the delay. There's something, you know, we can't make the part in-house, but it's on its way and we'll be getting that, pilot going. We would like to have a site visit out on the 2nd week of operation. We're anticipating 2 weeks at least of operation unless we can get this wrapped up and, you know, the operation and treatment of that process dialed in within the 1st week. But we'll look forward to that 2nd week and hopefully nice weather. And we can have everybody out there and just view the ZLD operation, you know, kind of what I always say, kick the tires, but you know, you'll see kind of the process of it. The chemical setups that's used in this, and then you'll kind of get a noise. There's not much noise or pumping. It's really very quiet. So you can kind of get a feel for what a true ZLD would be if it were installed here. And again, this is just a pilot. So we're just using this to vet the process of it and then gather some data as far as energy consumption for this and chemical consumption. So we can do some totals behind the scenes to see if this is true. If the efficacy of this is worth it. So finally, AMI, a big topic the last couple of weeks. Our final integration of Badger meeting the iron water is being performed, integrating with our Tyler billing system. Tyler had generated some automatic bills for, I think we had about a handful of registers that were not incorporated to Tyler. It came up with some self-generated bills that were averaged from previous consumption based on whatever lifetime of that customer in our system. And then with the update into Tyler, there was some billing twice and some billing inaccuracies. So I want to tell everybody that our registers are reading accurately. What had happened was just some billing errors. We didn't integrate them correctly. And again, this was a handful, and we're dealing with those on a case-by-case basis with some of those ratepayers. And we apologize for any of the confusion that caused, but no, we're not, the new meters are not causing $19,000 bills, billing cycles and so forth. So
It's been a big topic on social media.
yeah, so what we're actually looking forward to do is running, this is a end billing cycle for us at the end of October and all of our even months of billing cycles. What we're looking for is trying to get that billing cycle performed where we do like the 1-button click. There is 82 meters out in the system that have to be hand read or at least driven by. So we're looking to see if everything we have is incorporated in there and we can do that kind of basically 1-click billing cycle again to get the accuracy of our consumption down a little bit, tightened up here. We're going to move billing from basically starting at 12:01 on the 1st of the month and end at 12 p.m. or 11:59 on the 30th or 31st day of the month. And then we'll start to gather our production data more accordingly to that. So hopefully we'll see some of that water loss ratio decrease a little bit. With having those accurate, spot on reads. Stewart Street tank, so if anyone's been out or by there, tank 2, the larger tank is gone. We've completely removed that, regraded, recompacted. It's got the ring wall now, concrete has been poured. We just did the testing on that. It's at 4,000 PSI, so we're ready to start building on that. Next week, you'll see on top of the ring wall, that first row of metal for our tank starting to be erected. Staff went and visited Krosnos factory in AG, so I actually got to see some of our structural members and stuff that being built and on site there. So
the center of that footing doesn't get infilled?
So that's, right now we're working that out. There's the design of this was concrete by our consultant. Our tank engineers are wanting to base it. So right now we're kind of negotiating that. That's kind of, fortunately for us, we're waiting for the tank to cure and we had the inclement weather, but that's something we're trying to kind of hash out between the consultants and ourselves, right? But yeah, the design of it was engineered for center concrete stand for that pole for that structural, the center pole for structural integrity. So that's what we're trying to hash out between our consultants and our tank builders right there. So that's really the update on that there.
Does the tank have a metal bottom?
It will, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll have, yeah, but it's about an inch thick. Pad that'll go there, but of course you want structural integrity underneath that and as well. So that's coming along quite well.
So the rods around that thing are the seismic restraints that hold the tank down, I guess.
Right, so that was another change, a great topic. I don't want to get lost in the weeds too much, but so the bolt is a larger diameter and it's taller now to where that piece will actually affix into a side piece that mounts on the tank that will help be there for structural support. And all those, whether they're about 30-inch bolts, I don't think you call them bolts when they're 30 inches, large piece of hardware that was put in the concrete and mounted to the rebar structure in there. So those would be there.
It's like at least 1 inch diameter, maybe more.
I think they're inch and a quarter,
Inch and a quarter,
by about 30 inches, yeah. So it's a very strong stainless steel structural piece there. And I think with that, that's really all of our immediate up to date and some of our longstanding project updates. Mr. Meeks, Water Superintendent, has anything like to bring us up to speed? This would be a great time.
Oh, we've just been getting after a lot of leaks lately. Last week we did a giant double line replacement in the house on Canterbury. We did the proper road shutdown. We trenched across the street, got go ahead from Slow County Roads to do that. Compacted, did our compaction testing. We got compaction over 95%. Then the next day we went uphill to complete the rest of the lines. We tied in water for them so they wouldn't be without water. Over the weekend we had another leak clamped as in someone's yard, and then we also found a leak on Bridge Street. Got that repaired, and then tomorrow we're hopefully pulling in a new water service to repair a leak. So everything's leaking, but we're on top of it.
Kind of to add on to that, what we've seen is May used to be season start for us here. So if we had any new staff, we could try and get them trained up and ready to go by May, because that's when leak season started for us initially now. So I think we've seen that moisture and that ground stay a lot longer into later the season, almost into autumn and into fall here, and the ground dries up, and that's where we really start to see those leaks, those service lines that rock has been sitting on finally let go when that ground shrinks and dries up here. So what we've seen is almost like a 4 to 6 month pushback on that with the ground drying and us having to react to leaks. I mean, do we even have any in May and June that were significant?
No, and then we also caught a bunch we didn't know about with the stair.
Exactly, yes,
And have all of the leaks you found with Astera been taken care of?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
very good, yeah.
And when will be the next time Astera does leak detection?
Well, we wanted to do it before the rainy season started here, and we thought we'd have until Thanksgiving, so we had a tentative flyby date of just before, the Monday before Thanksgiving. The L-band can tell the difference between treated water, due to salinity. It has oh gosh, the reaction that you can tell between water and its,
Sodium
yeah,
hypochlorite
the
mixture.
the sodium hypochlorite, the salt signature in there. Um, gives off that effect, so, we can still do it, I think we'll still plan for doing it, it's not that much rain that we've had here, a couple inches. So I think we'll proceed with our tentative date of, just pre-Thanksgiving for that.
So are we officially in the rainy season?
We are.
Yeah.
Are we, how are we doing on ion water, those meters? Are we able, the public able to start registering their meters online?
Yeah.
Yes.
We are? Okay,
Yeah, all the registers are now in, the Tyler, so the billing part of that was the piece that we hadn't totally completed yet.
Yeah.
Completed accurately, at least, and so that piece is done, so yeah, Ion the Water portal or Ion Water portal should be able to log in.
okay, cool.
Yeah, if anybody has any problems out there, please reach out to us, and we can probably walk you through it.
Yeah, it looks like we have 104 users on Ion Water. Last meeting we had the 30s. So get more
I
engagement.
didn't see,
I
okay.
think with all that's going on social media about the bill, more people, somebody started mentioning, I'm trying to stay off of it, but somebody started mentioning the ion water. And I think there was a influx of people signing up. Some people have asking about the flume. And where they can get a flume. And I know that they sell them on Amazon, but Flume also sells them directly. And there's a spot, I looked on the website from one of the neighbors, there's a spot on there to put your address in to see if there's a rebate. And I put my address in just out of curiosity, and it says there's a rebate from the CCSD and they can buy the flume for $100. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
I didn't
That-
think it
5
was.
years ago, so
Yeah.
yeah, we need to update.
I bring that up because people are assuming that they're back down. I don't remember us talking about a rebate for a long time.
No, and we won't offer any more flume rebates.
Yeah, well,
honestly.
we have the ion
We
water
have the
now.
iron water, so yeah, and I do, you know, urge or advocate for all the users out there who haven't signed up for it, please sign up for it. You can create your own reports and graphs and everybody on like is excited about that as I am, but it's a fantastic way to kind of look historically back at what you used last year or a month ago, and then keep an eye on your consumption as well.
Yeah,
You know, well, it's raining and it's not a concern, but obviously as we get into drought periods or drier season, it's more of a concern for us, so
okay. Do any of you have any questions for Mr. Green, Mr. Meeks, or Mr. Reaper? No? Okay. I don't think we have any public comment because there's no attendees online. Do you have any? No. Okay. We can move on and pass public comment, which is. Okay, the consent agenda. This is consideration to approve the meeting minutes from August 18th. Did all of you read the minutes, and does anyone have any corrections or changes? No? Okay, can I have someone to make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay. Gonna do a roll call, so it's official.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Grimald, Mr. Webb,
Aye.
Mr. Howell,
Aye.
Mr. Seaver.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, CC. Okay. So now we're moving on to our regular business item. Mr. Green.
Fantastic. So, we have been reaching out to some landscaping services for the Stewart Street tanks as we move through that project and kind of landscape up around there and kind of approve again the view shed and the aesthetic quality, so it doesn't look so commercial industrial in these areas. We've done the same thing. We've reached out to some vendors, verbally, and, we've come across Ecotone, so I'm sure everyone's seen out in the community, doing some wonderful work. To get some of these landscaping kind of images or, you know, single shot presentations, there's some small to not so small fees. So, with Ecotones, we paid $1,000 for like a rendering of this. There's also another couple things that we'd like Ecotones for. They can do some grading and so at the start of the plant there, you'll know, We'd like to increase that view shed along Windsor, right before you approach Heath there, as you get off of one. We've had some trees die off, we've had some trees removed. Some of the foliage just hasn't been taken care of there. So this is why we'd like to kind of increase that view shed back, kind of pay it back for all the noise and impacts that we've had during the trucks and the traffic and all the work that's gone there at the plant. And also because we back up to that county easement right there, encroachment of 15 feet there, we kind of get some ponding during rain events. Like right now, we have a very large bird bath on Heath Lane that we just paved last year. So while we like ecotones, they do fantastic work with drought tolerant plants and, native plants, and the design work is fantastic. They can also do the physical part of grading, which some of the grading quotes that we got were just for grading were, literally over half of the cost of ecotones proposal for installation and grading and materials for this. So with that, I think we can post up the attachment. And so if you see in the bottom of that first illustration up there, yeah, so that's just the kind of Heath Lane asphalt on the bottom corner right there. So what you're really seeing is that kind of corner of the plant as Heath Lane and Windsor kind of converge right there. So these are some aesthetically pleasing plants. We're trying to put some color in there. We're trying to put plants that will grow up and kind of provide some of that commercial coverage of our fence and our buildings. Obviously, none that are too tall. We don't want anything to exceed over 15. We're trying to get something that's really low maintenance from now basically in perpetuity. We just need some minor trimming, no tree trimming or removal or even other costly items like that. So this is basically how we just kind of wanted to pretty up this area here that has always kind of looked commercial and a little barren, for lack of better terms there. And it is where that Santa Rosa walking trail starts right there. So we do get a lot of people during the season who like to park and walk through that area. So the grading will be an improvement. And again, we've had county authorization for that as well. And then just the view shed for the people parking, driving by, and then walking the Santa Rosa trail right there. Not much of a noise barrier. The plant, when it's in full operation, without construction, doesn't produce a whole bunch of noise there. So we're not really looking for noise impact reduction, just more of a view shed improvement and, just trying to reduce the commercial look of that and, improve the aesthetics there. So, just anything else you'd like to touch on with that?
Lots of pretty ceanothus.
Did you like?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
requested that.
Thank you.
See enough, this is a good.
My computer's.
Which
Well,
plant
that's
is the CNO
a
for?
little fun.
The purple one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over. And the dark star is one of the few that deer won't eat. Of course, they'll eat anything, but
Go try it.
well,
We did try to say now native, drought tolerant and deer resistant, but
yeah, the deer won't, they like the ones that are 1-inch leaves and bigger. And these are dark stars, the smaller leaves.
Okay. So they get quite big too, so they'll fill in.
Yeah.
Fill in a lot of area.
Well, this is an area where, people coming down Moonstone Beach Drive and coming out onto Windsor, looking straight at that. It is kind of industrial looking there. Same thing with people going to Shamwell Park or coming out, and we get a lot of visitors traveling around that corner.
Are the large trees in the background, are they existing or are they gonna be planted?
those are existing. So the remaining ones, so we've had the ones that were dying and diseased removed.
Yeah,
And so, what you see there are actually the current trees that we have on hand at a representative height in comparison to what would be planted there.
And Ecotones will be doing the planting itself.
They'll do, it's a one project. So they'll be doing the removal, the grading and the materials and installation.
they're gonna build up a berm there, is that what that looks like?
Right,
Yeah.
so again, if you travel a little bit further down the front, which would be parallel to Windsor,
Mhm.
there's a manhole right there, and every year, like rain, I'm sure it's already covered up by our inch or two that we've received this year, so we're gonna take that back. They'll have a small little berm there set up so that won't encroach on there. So when we need to get to that manhole in emergency, we're not spending a half an hour having to bring a tractor out to uncover that. So yeah, there's a couple other little things in that grading package, which will be beneficial for us for our operations.
So this still has to be priced out and then proposed to the board. Is that where we are?
Yeah, because we have to have a budget adjustment for that, so that's why I'll go for the board. So that's.
You've already got it kind of priced out on here.
It is, yeah. So that's final price installed.
This is $41,485.06.
6 cents. Don't forget your 6 pennies.
This is kind of similar to the same type of landscaping that we looked at earlier for the Richard side of the Stewart Street tanks.
Right.
Similar drought tolerant plants. Same company.
Yeah.
Same company.
Does anybody else get on this or are they the only ones?
We've had like a verbal, like $60,000 quote from another landscape company.
Okay.
And we've got some other quotes for Stewart that were much higher and sometimes double what the Stewart price is. So this is a capital improvement project. This will be a DIR. So prevailing wage is, we'll have to pay for the labor. It's what we pay for all of our projects. So we didn't see an increase in that with the ecotones as we did in the other vendors. So I think some of the other vendors maybe don't do larger municipality or agencies, so they charge a lot more when you have to have DIR reporting in there. So that's why sometimes we end up defaulting back to some of the larger companies because they do DIR projects and they have that capability and that software and that reporting already built into their price.
Well, and also with landscaping project, we were running into this tricky thing where the landscaping company they want to pay a design fee. And then afterwards, they could give us a bid on what it would cost to install it. Well, we don't want to go out and get different designs that's $15,000 to $3,000 a piece, only to then have to get a bid back. That's gonna also vary significantly, so it's our preference would be just, to pick something we like that was reasonably priced and we can be relatively, like Jim was saying, be relatively assured is market price, because these landscapers are buying from the same tree suppliers, they're buying from, they're all paying DIR, prevailing wage, so there's really not gonna be a ton of, most of the cost difference is gonna come with different designs.
And we didn't want to spend $6,000 to $10,000 on 3 1-page illustrations.
Makes sense.
Okay, any questions? Well, still no one online. Do you have any questions?
Just to clarify, you're gonna grade from where you're planting there all the way up to the pavement of the road
15 foot from. Yeah.
So is there still gonna be those holes there to collect water?
So the ruts, in a sense, the majority of the ruts will be graded into it up to 15 feet away from the county road. That's county setback, so we're not supposed to touch that.
No chance of getting them to come in and.
I mean, we have to make sure that all grades off towards the northwest Windsor side of it, kind of where the county has their well for Shamel Park there, that all needs to flow through that corridor. There, which is another reason why I like ecotones, because they have the grading and they'll actually shoot and survey and make sure that's appropriate grade. And again, the county's given us their blessing, but they do want us to meet that encroachment height right there. So we'll scrape it over and do the best that we can, but again, it's in the county setback, so there's not much more that we can do.
And we're not gonna grade the entire parking lot, we're only going about, 20 foot, maybe 25 foot past the utility,
Probably about 30 feet.
30 feet past the utility. There's 4 bollards to protect that utility vault there.
So that area there along the side of the road where people park to go walk is still gonna be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
No, our property.
Any other questions? Okay, so this is a discussion and consideration to make a recommendation to the board. So how do you feel? Are we all good?
Yeah, I think you should send it to the board.
Carmen?
Send it to the board.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
And so this would be charged to the SST project?
No, this will be split between water and wastewater. And it'll be a budget adjustment that'll come out of the reserves.
Okay. So you're basically your working capital budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so this is for the wastewater plant, so why is it split between water and wastewater?
Cause we share the facility.
Okay,
I just think that's
just in case anybody asked. Okay,
Superintendent Meeks doesn't like that, but you know. It's a lot more fair to break it between two. It's basically 20 grand from each department, which is in a huge chunk, and I think it's what Superintendent Meeks forgets is that he has a spoils pile right around the corner, which this will help guys from us. We'll just remind him that off the record.
well, your office is out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion by Jim Webb and a second by Don Howell. So I'm gonna do a vote. Jim,
Aye.
Mr. Howell,
Aye.
the other Jim.
Aye.
And Steve,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay, so 5 ayes. Okay, I think. Future agenda items. Okay, so. We postponed our Stewart Street tank tour. And last time I talked to you, the ZLD, we were kind of looking at November 3rd.
Yes.
Are we still looking at November 3rd for the
so.
ZLD? Is everybody still okay with November 3rd for the zero liquid discharge one? Okay. so-
November 3rd, right?
Yeah. Okay, so as far as the Stewart Street tanks, do we want to try to do that on the same day, or can we do it possibly next week, Monday? Supposed to be good weather.
Next Monday, yeah, it should be.
Yeah, and next week looks, supposed to be 80 by the weekend in Northland, so.
So that would be the 20th, and that's the day you were talking about starting to do the boring out there for the San Simeon transmission aid. So are you free for that tour? You or Mr. Meeks or
I'm good for Monday, 13th.
today, so that was yesterday.
I'm sorry, the 20th, excuse me. Looking at the wrong week. Yeah, I can see.
Are we good for the 20th,
Yeah,
everybody?
we want to do Stewart.
One day.
Yeah, so like Stewart at 3 PM, Monday the 20th.
Does that work for everybody?
We gotta ask the boss.
For ZLD,
I won't be able to attend, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, for the Stewart Street tanks, Monday, the 20th at 3 o'clock. Does that work?
Yep.
Does that work for everybody? Okay. Okay, and then on November 3rd, what day of the week is that? I don't have my
it's a
calendar.
Monday.
Okay, Monday, November 3rd, what time? For the ZLD?
Why don't we do an afternoon out there as well?
Okay,
Let's do it 3 PM.
3?
2 or 3?
About two.
2 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, so November 3rd at 2 o'clock. For the ZLD. And October 20th
For Stewart.
at 3 o'clock for the Stewart Street tanks. And everybody lives right around the corner from that except for Don.
We'll give you a ride down. We'll pick you up.
Okay, good. Okay, so any other future agenda items?
I do. So we have Santa Rosa Stream Bank right by our lift station B. 25 years ago, we did some stream bank repair on that side. 2001, 25 years ago, we did some stream bank repair. It had a little collect back from the 2023 March storms. We had that removed, so that way there wouldn't be any blockage in the creek. Today we viewed it. It looks like the creek flow has improved so far with what little creek flow we've got from the storm event. But now we need to do some stream bank rehabilitation there. What we want to bring is we have, I don't want to say an ex-member of SWICA, but one of our environmentalists and consultants that was with SWICA is now on his own with his company at Estero, and he has come up with a proposal for us for this that would cover basically his construction management of the job. So he'd be doing the permitting, kind of doing the technical coordination between consultants and us, and then kind of helping us vet the whole project, be presenting here at R&I and the board with us. But that is something we want to bring to you guys probably in November. I think we'll be ready to. So yeah, it'll be like the full scope of the project in the stream bank. There's 150 feet there. That's about 2.5 stories tall. That just absolutely needs, if we had another March 9th, 2023 storm, we're about 30 feet from a main line to that lift station B, which is our main lift station before entering the wastewater plant. So it would be a huge loss to us and would be a major issue, infrastructure issue. If we had stream bank erosion all the way to that main where we lost support, if we'd lose that lift station there. So this is why this is kind of preventative action, kind of like in 2001. So we'll be looking at that again, every 20 or 25 years, you have some of these events due to storm flow and that. So we'll bring you kind of the scope and package of that there in November.
Okay, our regular meeting in November is scheduled for the 17th, is that, okay? Okay, anything, so we're gonna have 3 meetings.
Any other topics we want to talk about? And, or now we've been kind of just so deep into our projects, we haven't really been, thinking outside the box for new discussions here at R&I, but there any community concerns that we need to address or? We'll also bring forward a SST. We're getting very close to like majority of the culmination of the ECMs for the SST. So I kind of want to have a wrap up party for this where we talk about the timeline and the execution of these. So rather than touch on it at such a close time, I'd rather bring kind of a culmination of the project here in the coming months. But is there any other?
So we're gonna talk about that on the 17th too?
No,
No, later.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll get that in December, because by December, we should wrap it up and kind of a post-construction project meeting, so when we can have Superintendent Artho in. But is there any concerns in the community we want to talk about or bring to R&I? We fixed everything, we're all good out there?
We'll probably come up with something before it's time. Yeah, if anybody has something else they're concerned about that's related to water or wastewater infrastructure or our in-stream flow study or any of that stuff, let me know so we can put it on the agenda.
We also have the Santa Rosa in-stream flow study.
Yeah.
Culminating, Stillwater, our consultants have formed a technical advisory committee that we'll be meeting with in a couple weeks. So that piece will probably be coming around in January. Also, oh geez, it was right on the tip of my tongue. We're coming, budget talks. Internally, we're already going over projects. So we're kind of at the cloud talk wish list things here. So probably January, February, we'll be bringing you our CIP list to review and kind of get a vote or do some vetting. Okay. So those projects will be coming up, or the budgeting will be coming up at the start of the year. Topic items?
So anything new about EV charging stations? I know that a while back we heard about the possibility of EV charging stations in this parking lot. Is there anything new on that?
So the SLOCOG or the grant that SLO County was gonna receive, that went out to the Wellsana San Paso truck stop there. Yeah, so the month that was, that passed, that ship is sailed. But there's a new project that the county's reached out to us about. This is the APCD, so this is a fully funded project, just like the prior one, for 4 charger units here, again, in the That's All parking lot. So as some of the scope comes available to that, or we have some other identifying parts to that project, we can bring that forward to you as well. And I'm sure General Manager McElhenney will be when you talk about that though, but we've had some preliminary meetings with the APCD and some contractors there. First inclination here is by our Peace Corner over there. The stalls that are directly in front of it or adjacent to it are right off that electrical pole there where there's 480. There's a little vault in the ground, so it'd be a really short, inexpensive run for power. Again, this isn't any cost to us, but that's kind of their initial thoughts on where the first 4 chargers would go right there. So there's some negotiations obviously we have to do with Farmers Market and Lions Club and so forth, but that's just some of the early noise and rumblings for this next round participation in this, and hopefully it's a fantastic program to get 4 superchargers installed here. Would be fantastic, especially for free. It would be cost-free operation for us for 10 years. After that, we reap all the, the financial benefit of having those chargers here, and then the maintenance obviously would be on us, but there's very little maintenance there. Having those chargers out there too, while it takes up a little bit of footprint from the farmer's market, they'd also be able to provide power to the farmer's market.
Oh,
Yeah, based off of those chargers. Now, the chargers would not be utilized during the farmer's market. And again, when you get these grants, you have to be available to the public at all hours. But there are some small caveats, like 3 hours of charging every Friday during the farmer's market season, would obviously be closed to ingress or egress for any charging. But again, during that, you'd have plenty of power for the farmer's market. I haven't seen too many booths need much power there, but there would be that availability if we had
yeah,
that
they
there.
might get more booths for people who needed power that they don't have now.
You'll have you could put on a small concert there with all the power that we have there. Yeah, more than enough ample. Just about anything you need to set up here, but yeah, we'll be bringing that forward too in the upcoming months, probably more like next year is some more of the info regarding that project gets more determined and nailed down.
Okay. Anything else?
Just a quick question, how do you guys do it with all the, perhaps there wasn't enough rain to inundate the water treatment plant, but how'd you guys do? You didn't get overflowed or?
The wastewater plant, last night at midnight, we had 800 gallons a minute
Yeah.
influent, and it was quite a bit. It's not the largest we've ever seen, but it did quite well. Again, like our wastewater plant is on one treatment train right now
Yeah.
for our aeration and clarifier basin. So yeah, we were able to process that. We didn't have any lift station issues besides lift station B. The pump A didn't come on, so there's some troubleshooting we had to do with some SCADA and but other than that, all the equipment was operable. We didn't have any PG&E outages or no interruptions in service. And we were able, with the one train, to handle that 800 gallon minute of flow that came in for basically the first hour of the morning there, early this morning. And water department had no issues.
So raising those manholes probably helps some, right?
Absolutely. We specifically, we strategized in certain locations that were
Yeah,
down
sure.
in bowls and
Yeah.
valleys, and but one of those pick holes on those manholes is 5 gallons a minute during
Yeah.
storm flow like that. So that's
Yeah,
quite
you
a
put
bit.
like
to see.
a gas tight ring in there,
Even works.
There you go. Drink more wine.
Yep, no worries. They don't last forever, but they do the job for the season.
Okay. How are we doing with the digester tanks? Better.
So there's been some issues there. Again, this PG&E SST problems kind of all dropped in our lap. Early evaluations of the tank, and this is going back 5 to 7 years ago, we're just going to remove and recoat the exterior of the tank. As we've gotten deeper and deeper into the tank, there's some serious structural issues with parts of the tank where we're having to cut and remove sections of that tank and replace it with appropriate thickness metal in there. So that part has escalated. Southland and PG&E have shouldered the majority of that. We have had a small change order on our end to kind of help combat this issue with this. It's a very small piece into it. I think Southland at this point has stated to me off the record that they're about $4 million upside down on this project. So yeah, trying to do everything we can do to just get through this project and be amicable on all sides here. Yes.
$1 million.
So, yeah, there'll be a small change order for that we'll be talking about in the upcoming months.
And everything's ready out at the WRF for the ZLD.
We are in the middle of, we have some cleaning and old brine that has had some biological fouling in there that we've had to recycle, filter, and kind of water down, that we'll be hauling off to South San Luis Obispo Sanitation District for disposal. And that'll be going off this week, but everything else is prepared and operable for the ZLD. We had H2O Innovations out last week for a week where they updated our software and operating systems. We pinned how many?
9 modules,
So 9 out of the 20
38.
or 38 UV modules that we, or UF pins. So that's shutting down the train, removing these huge, heavy vessels that are very hard. So the UF train is running fantastic, basically like the day we bought it. The ROs are all functioning. We've got new disinfection and chemical pumps in. And so all these new features and components, we've all got operable during that last week and integrated in. Well, H2O Innovations was on site. We're hauling off the old brine and we'll be processing on Monday, creating new brine directly for the CLD, excuse me, project.
So all we need is for them to show up with those.
Yes, mobilization should be the 16th or 17th of this
Okay.
month. I think we're getting one trailer in on the 16th and the second on the 17th.
Good.
So, yeah, look forward to seeing what this brings about. It's been a long time coming, so.
Okay, so we have a meeting set up, meeting at the Stewart Street Tanks, October 20th at 3 o'clock, meeting out at the WRF for the ZLD pilot project on November 3rd, and then we have our meeting here on November 17th. Okay? Okay. Does anyone have anything else, or are you ready to adjourn? Okay, well, this was a quick meeting. Well, actually, we said we'd be done at 2:45, 2:40.
That on time.
Okay, it is 2:47 and I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.